And houses were built for banks. They weren't built for people. They were built for banks. And then the people were lied to and said, oh, a house is a great investment. A house is one of the dumbest, worst investments a human being could possibly make for one reason. You have to pay the house doesn't pay you. And if it doesn't pay you, it's not a good investment.
You know, that's good old Uncle G, man. And I respect him a lot. I know a lot of you fellas do, but when it comes to real estate, I completely disagree with him on this particular topic as far as buying a home. I'm from the South. I'm from New Orleans. Coming up, man, no matter what part of the city you was from, uptown, downtown, across the canal, no matter what part of the city you was from. If you was a black man raised in the hood, you always wanted to live in the East. They had the nice houses out there, manicured lawns, big backyards. And this is before Katrina. They had the plaza out there, jazz land. Even Beaver from Cash Money bought a mansion and lived out there too. I mean, that was the prize back then, man. You get a little money and move to the East, get your nice house, you pretty much made it. Now after Katrina, it was a different thing. You know, it was like reverse gentrification at that point. But that's a topic for another day. Now, a lot of our people get caught up in the Black Wall Streets, the Greenwood District, and how people were empowered, self-empowered in the past. But you look at the stats, and the stats show that in that time period, early 1900s up until Tulsa, our people own more land than they do today. And that's unfortunate considering that blacks today have way more resources than our ancestors did. But today we suffer from a shiny object syndrome, as they call it. We see the rappers and the celebrities showing all their material wealth, but there ain't no substance. You just getting fed empty calories on a daily basis. You need something more tangible. And there's nothing more tangible on this planet as far as wealth building goes than starting a business and owning real estate. No doubt about it that we lost a lot economically through bloodshed, policies, redlining, Jim Crow, etc. But the biggest thing we lost was our group camaraderie, our spirit. The majority of the wealth for the average middle-class American was built after World War II. During that time, soldiers came home and they had something called a GI Bill that every American soldier, whether white or black, was supposed to receive. And you all know we got the short end of that stick because none of the banks was trying to give a loan to a nigga. But some brothers fell through the cracks. Shit, I have one in my own family. OG managed to buy a house in an exclusive neighborhood, in the 1950s. Today that house worth almost $1 million. Now, he not alive to benefit from it, but it benefits his children and his grandchildren. So that's just the kind of example. So that's just an example to kind of debunk that buying a house is a bad investment shit. It's not a bad investment. It's just a long-term investment. But in this microwave society, our people want quick gains instead of long-term generational ones. And that's the thing, man. Even to this day, the majority of middle-class white Americans achieve their greatest portion of wealth through their home ownership, capital appreciation, which left a great portion of black people behind the 8 ball. And we all a part of it because we failed ourselves culturally. You look at the Asians that come to America, the Hispanics, they get 2 families together and they buy one house. That one house turned into 2. That 2 turned into 4. That 4 turned into a business. That business allows them to get commercial property, so on and so forth. That's the thing, they practice group economics. And that's what I mean when I say, man, we lost our way, our group camaraderie. We more individual now. And that's a big key component as far as building wealth in a capitalistic society. It takes groups. It takes couples. It takes families. It takes time. But we want everything right now, right away, where we can set ourselves up for right now. Maybe you don't become a millionaire in your lifetime. Who knows? But I bet our children could become millionaires. We could set them up for that. And the easiest way to set them up for that, other than life insurance policies, is buying property. Appreciation is real. And that's Econ 101. People always need a place to stay. And to me, that's an asset. It might not be a cash-producing asset, but it's a foundational one. You'll always need a roof over your head, so why not own it? To me, it's dangerous advice when gurus give out that type of information, especially to black people. Shit, they're predicting by the 2050s our network will be at zero.
New tonight, black home ownership is at the lowest level since housing segregation was actually legal. Federal statistics show the rate of home ownership in the black community is only 50%. 11 Alive's Don White is live in Southwest Atlanta with what's behind this trend and some possible solutions. Don?
Ron, James Johnson, he finally realized his dream of owning a home. He moved into this Southwest Atlanta neighborhood with a little help along the way.
I tried to get some people to help me.
James Johnson never thought he'd be decorating a home he owned.
I was taught home ownership by my parents and my mother and my grandmother.
And he finally was able to buy his own home by getting some help.
I actually used the Atlanta Housing Authority with their program to get a down payment assistance.
Realtor Julian Jackson.
But your first house is not your final house.
Helped James make his dreams a reality, becoming a first-time home buyer.
With Caucasians, historically, they've had a whole lot more money in their community through history. And that affects what you're putting in an offer on the house.
Federal statistics show the rate of home ownership for whites is 70%. Julian says to equal the playing field, you need to get your finances in order years in advance.
Down payments, you want to make sure, depending on if you're a 1099 worker or not, you have to have several years of taxes. You have to file your taxes.
Also, live within your means if you're buying for the first time.
They might see a house that might be that person's third, fourth, fifth home.
Some other tips to increase black home ownership include home ownership counseling and using special purpose credit programs if needed.
When you own, you are building equity, and that is a form of wealth. One thing we've learned is that one reason black wealth is less than white wealth is because so many of us are not homeowners.
James wanted to keep his money within the black community, so all of his contractors, his loan agent, and his real estate agent were all black. Ron?
And I commend a brother for that, about hiring your own people. But like I said earlier, man, we lost our sense of community, our camaraderie. And not all our people is good medicine, bro. I recommend you go with the best contractor that do the best work for the best price, no matter the color. Because at the end of the day, there's still an investment. And investments are not guaranteed, so you got to control the controllables. But one of the non-controllables is the interest rates in today's environment. The Federal Reserve printed so much money that it raises the price of everyday items. And nothing is more expensive in this life than your cost of living, where you lay your head at. And with these interest rates this high compared to pre-COVID, it could kind of get discouraging to buyers to not to buy and just sit on the sideline. But be forewarned, man. The high-ups in this society wants a nation of renters. They want to have that control. Renting gives you a false illusion of control, but you have no leverage. So if you decide to sit on the sideline, stack as much money as you can, because the opportunity gonna always present itself. So you might as well just be prepared for it. And that's what this game about, man. But one thing I would agree with Uncle G with, if you do decide to own a house, get your multi-family property. Get your duplex or a fourplex. Build your own self-economy. Even though being a landlord is not for the faint of heart, man. There's always some shit with it, but, that's life in general, right? Scared money don't make money. So my advice to y'all, don't do yourself a disservice. Because at the end of the day, you'll be a damn fool not to own a piece of what God made. But for sure, I'll be with y'all next time.